G'day guys, welcome to another layout. Now this one is one of those videos, if you've been here a while, you know every so often I've got to just get in and do some stitching on a layout or just do something a little bit different. So today I thought I would show you, as I'm leaning in front of the camera there, sorry about that. First things first, this is how I clean off my brushes. I don't actually have one of these brushes for each Distress Oxide colour. I will let you know, when you use these brushes, if you've got Distress Inks and Distress Oxides, don't mix the two. You can use a Distress Ink brush on an Oxide, but you can't go back the other way. So I actually have two separate sets. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just creating a cloudy-esque background. It's not meant to be literal. It's just to give you the effect of sort of clouds in the background. I'm looking at my photos, and in this situation, sometimes I like to look at a photo and recreate something in the photo if I can. So that's what I'm doing on this layout, to show you that this is actually quite simple if you want to do it like this. All I did here is I just tore some scrap cardstock. It's actually really, really cheap cardstock. It's more like paper than cardstock. And you can see I've done some stamping on it, just mucking around. Now, you just tear it so you get an organic edge. It's not a straight edge. It's not a curved edge. It's just a more organic flow. So that's more what a cloud would look like in the sky. Is it exactly an exact representation of the photo? No. This is just one way of creating an interesting background for your layout. What I know a lot of people, because I've had lots of comments, I know a lot of people say to me, how do you start off with a white sheet of cardstock and know where to start? For me, I don't look at a white sheet of cardstock as a hurdle to get past. I look at a white sheet of cardstock as, what can I do on this layout to make it go wow? That's what I like to be really creative. So, which if you've been here for 5 minutes, you'll know that that's what I like to do. I like to give you guys ideas. Doesn't mean that you're going to make your clouds as fluffy as these ones. Are you going to use as many colors as I've used in this one? I've actually used Chip Sapphire, Mermaid Lagoon. No, that's the wrong video. Is that the wrong video? Yes, that's the wrong video. I used PUMICESTONE. I used Lost Shadow. I used Hickory Smoke, Tumbled Glass, Speckled Egg. So just in the clouds, I used Tumbled Glass, Speckled Egg, Lost Shadow, Broken China, and that was it on this one. So this entire layout is made up using Distress Oxide inks. Now this is, all I'm doing is stippling my Montmartre number 4 gesso brush, because it's got nice stiff bristles on it, and I'm holding it very 90 degrees to the layout. So I'm not leaning it on an angle, I'm just dobbing it up and down, and I'm using, you can see the 3 different colors there. I've got Forest Moss, Peeled Paint, and Mowed Lawn on there at the moment. And now I bring in a bit of Rustic Wilderness. And with these colors, what I'm doing is I'm not specifically painting a tree. I'm not painting exact leaves. It's giving the illusion of a green tree sort of background. That's what it's creating, because I'm then going, this is literally all in the background. Then I'm going to create something in the front of it so that you can get the whole picture. So sometimes when you're, this is where I start coming in with different brushes. So I pulled out the stippling brush, but I wasn't happy with that. even though that's what this is designed to use stippling brush for, you can do this technique with it. But if I was using paint, it would be different. But the fact that I'm trying to lift the ink off my slick surface, that brush didn't really work. But the gesso brush, I was right then. I'm second guessing myself all over the place today. Now I'm just adding different lines and different to create a different texture on top of a different texture, because what you find is when you do this, you end up with, so you've sort of got dots, you've got slight scratchy lines. You know, when you look at trees in a distance and you're looking at a couple of trees and you can't actually see individual leaves, what your eye is seeing is the light reflecting off the different leaves amongst the different trees. So that's what I'm creating here. I'm not actually going in and making individual leaves, but this gives you the effect of it. And I'm taking them right up and into the blue part of the sky. That seems crazy, but the angle the photos were taken on, you'll actually notice it shortly when I bring the photos in. See how the trees, because the photos are going up, so Taylor was down lower, Jen was up higher in the photo. So you've actually got the trees in front of the sky and you can see the blue poking through. So that's why I've taken it up, right up to the border. And that way I don't have a distinct line where the sky finishes and the trees start. So, and because these are distress oxides, they layer on top of other colours. So you can do that with them. Now, I come in with a bit more forest moss. I've got to tell you, this forest moss colour, I hardly ever use it. And that is some information I'd love to give you guys. I'm actually quite lucky because I've got every single distress oxide colour. And if you don't regularly scrap with a really broad palette like I do, you don't need all the colours. You can mix colours to make colours in between. You can do things like that. Look, in all fairness, I bought all of them because I'm one of these people, I've got to have the whole lot to then my creative juices get going and I think, right, now what can I do with this? And I love that. I absolutely love that. So, FYI, if you don't need all of them, don't buy all of them. Buy a few. Have a play. It's actually quite a lot of fun. Now, I'm cutting myself a 3/4 inch pole is what it is. And I'm coming in here with some Distress Oxide ink. I'm using Lost Shadow, a little bit of PUMICESTONE on the edges. Now, the thing with the Distress Oxides, they stay wetter longer because they've got a pigment ink in them. So they're really creamy and they go on, but it gives you that extra ability to be able to blend them. And you've got quite a bit of hang time to be able to blend them together. And now I'm coming in with some Hickory Smoke. And see how now I've managed to create a bit of a shadow going around. So it's giving the illusion that it's a curved pole, even though it's a flat piece of cardstock. That's how you do it. Make it light right at the very front and then darken and just blend your layers as they go around. Here I'm creating the metal cap that's on the top of the pole, and that's all it is. Just a little bit of paper piecing. This doesn't have to be an exact science. Trust me, it's super simple. Like, it is this simple, and this is why I like showing you guys things like this, because you might have wanted to do something like this in the past and not really known how to get the blend right for it to look like a pole. Sorry, I needed a drink then. I'm getting a dry mouth today. Gee whiz. It's supposed to be really warm here today. It's supposed to be about 28, so my sunspots are not going to enjoy walking outside, that is for sure. But That's okay. Now I've pulled out my old mouse pad and my pokey tool and I'm going to town. I've glued down my pole so it doesn't move, and I'm just creating holes that are in a random order off the side, because in the photo Jennifer is actually climbing one of these net climbing things in that you have in your playgrounds. I don't know if you guys have them overseas, but here in Australia we've got these. They're like spider webs basically, and they go up on a pole and kids can climb right to the top or whatever. Now this is what the back of it looks like. A hot mess, doesn't matter, nobody sees that. I just glue it down with some washi tape. My thread I attach with some washi tape, and that's what I did. Just all over the place. There's no rhyme nor reason to it, making sure it all connects to the pole every so often, because that's what it looks like in real life. And now you can see once I bring the photos in, it makes more sense. So it is a little bit of a process, but at the end of the day, all that work I've put in, that's my ephemera. That's what I don't then come in with lots of other bits and pieces on top, because there's a lot going on in the background and you don't really want to cover up all that work. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. Now I'm doing another quote title because I want to give you guys different ideas for your titles. It's something that I was asked the other day in the Facebook group. I was asked, how do I come up with my titles? How do I stop reusing the same title? Well, here's an idea. Sometimes when it comes to a title on a scrapbook page, we need to look to the journaling world a little bit, and sometimes it's actually quite fitting to use a quote instead of a title as such. And we are taught so much in scrapbooking, and we hear it so much, that we need to put a title on a page. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a title. It can be a quote. So rifle through Pinterest. As long as you give credit when you're using a quote from somebody, and you put underneath it, you know, who the quote's from, or where you found the quote, or anything like that. But there is a lot of quotes out there that are just anonymous, and you don't have the ability. And that's what this quote was. It was an anonymous quote, and I thought, you know what, that would work on this page. You know, believe you can, and you're halfway there. And for me, that was really poignant on this layout, because Jennifer is not scared of heights. I am petrified of heights. It gives me a vertigo feeling just looking at her on top of this thing. But she's not scared of heights. So believe you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You're halfway there if you believe you can do it. I am of the mindset I cannot do it. I have other talents in my life. Heights are not one of them. I had an uncle who has actually just recently passed away. Uncle Les, he used to hold me over the rail when I was a child. I kid you not with this. He would pick me up, and my dad's house is 2-story, and he'd take me out on the veranda, and he thought it was hilarious to hold me over the rail and then toss me in the air and catch me. Oh my Lord. And he did this to me right up till I was probably 6, 7, 8. And I've got to tell you, that's where my fears come from. Either that, or in a past life I fell off a cliff or something. I don't know. But it petrifies me. But I will not stop my kids doing things like this, because I know it's an irrational fear. It's an irrational fear that was instilled in me by a lunatic behaviour, and, you know, I would never dream to do that. Now, with my title, I did put this bit in here. Don't think that I get these drop shadows perfect every time. I don't. I have a black and a white broad tip pen, and I have a black and a white fine tip Posca paint pen. And if I've gone over a little bit, or if I want to make my lines a little bit more pointed, I come in with the color over the top, because that is something you can do with a Posca paint pen. You can keep layering it over it to get it how you want it. Obviously only to a certain thickness, but it allows you to look like you're amazing and you've got creative genius just dripping off your fingertips. So don't be afraid to give that a crack. All I do is write the word and then flare out the top and bottom of all my downstrokes. That's all I do. And you don't need any thickers, you don't need stickers, you don't need a Cricut, nothing. This is just all inks and Posca paint pen and a bit of thread. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're getting value from my videos, please smash the like button, leave me a comment. All of that helps my channel get noticed, and I am trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by Christmas time, and by doing that you'll be able to help me get there. Thanks so much for that, and don't forget to share my page with my channel with your friends. They might like it too. Thanks for watching, guys. Chat to you soon. Bye for now.